Hey everybody, Jake here for Dude Ranch DIY. Welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last video, you know that I recently acquired, along with Chris, we bought this old hay elevator, which we are planning on turning into a firewood conveyor. And you saw all of the trials and tribulations we went through as far as doing the first kind of couple fixes on the machine and how they didn't really work, and we kind of learned the lesson: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then that video ended up with me actually testing it out for the first time, and while it did get the firewood into the dump trailer, there were some things that need improvement. Some of those things I do not have the time or materials to fix today, but one of the biggest things I am actually going to try and fix today, or at least attempt to fix today, with some materials that I have here around the house. So let me show you what we got going on, and then hopefully I'm going to fire the conveyor up, fire the RuggedMade splitter up, and we're going to split up the rest of this cherry firewood back here. So one of the big issues with the conveyor was that the wood was coming off here and then falling down on, or I was actually throwing it down onto there, and it was basically just like sliding back so that the wood was kind of half on the conveyor, half off. And then when these paddles would come and spin around, the wood would get caught on top of it, and the wood would basically wedge itself between the paddle, which is just thin galvanized like sheet metal, and the top of this bar here where the trough is mounted. And it caused, I'm not sure where it is, it might be on the bottom, but it caused one of these, or actually two of these paddles, to bend pretty severely. So I think after looking at some other types of conveyors, firewood conveyors online, I think a pretty simple fix is to basically just have a flap, a flexible like rubber mud flap or something, to come down and prevent the wood from being able to slide backwards, but it's also pliable enough where these flappers can just kind of push it out of the way. So what I'm planning on using is this old rubber mat that I have here. I think it's actually just so happens to be like the perfect width. It fits, as you can see, right in there, and it has holes in it. So I'm just going to try a quick fix and basically cut off this section here going down this line. I think this should be adequate, and then I'm basically just gonna zip tie it up to this crossbar, mounting bar that holds on this trough, and we're gonna see how that works. The other thing I might try to do is I might just remove this whole trough completely and back the conveyor up closer to the splitter, because the width of the I forgot my train of thought. The width of the sorting tray there is about the width of the conveyor, and I think the majority of the wood would probably just push itself off and onto the conveyor, and it would probably work better as opposed to trying to, you know, get it to push off of this onto this and then onto the conveyor. So first things first, I'm going to cut this mat, and we're going to try that, and then we might remove this whole extra trough thing, because I'm not so certain how necessary that is. So nothing too crazy going on here. I'm basically just gonna cut this section of the mat off. I think this is gonna be a long enough piece. And then I got some zip ties, and we're gonna try and zip tie it onto that crossbar there. It's a good thing I sharpened my knife the other day. Okay. So that's that. And we got a nice, you know, pretty clean edge. We're not going for perfect here, but I'm basically just going to try and zip tie it on to here. So got my zip ties. I think I got 6 of them. Now, I probably should have heavier duty zip ties, but I wasn't, you know, really anticipating doing this, so these will have to do for now, which is why I'm using 6 of them. All right, so that's on there like that, with the plan being that these, you know, the conveyor is going to go up this way, These paddles should just easily push this up and out of the way, but yet it prevents the firewood from sliding backwards down into where it causes issues. So just gonna cut tabs off here. Okay, that seems to be working pretty well. The paddles have no problem pushing through it, and I think it should stop the firewood from sliding backward. So let's fire up the splitter and get to work. Short amount of time that worked really well until it didn't. You'll notice that there is a zip tie sitting right there and no more rubber mat. So I am guessing, yep, I think this is the rubber mat that I cut and it fell off. But I mean, it was definitely loading up the firewood here. As you can see, this is all fresh split from today. So I think the issue here was that I need stronger zip ties, or maybe not even zip ties, but maybe like wire would be better to hold this thing on more. Because it's not the mat that broke or anything, it's just the zip ties that broke. And that was really working well. The splitter was even pushing pieces on its own without me having to, I mean, I was definitely pushing them while the splitter was cycling on its own, but it was pushing them as well. I really do think that if I were to just take this whole trough off, I might actually do that. Take that whole trough off and just zip tie on the rubber mat to that crossbar there. And that might be the ticket here. So I think I need to run, I think I'm gonna run to the hardware store and get some like mechanics wire quick, because I think that would probably be the strongest option, and I can just wire tie it instead of like zip tying it. All the zip ties I have are pretty weak, that, you know, I don't really use them for any heavy duty stuff. So I'm gonna run to the hardware store and see what kind of options I have as far as tying that on there. So stay tuned. Hopefully we can finish up this video this afternoon. Okay guys, so I am back from the hardware store, and I'm just gonna move some of this wood and then I'll show you what I got. I think it should do the trick. So basically what I got were these giant zip ties, rather than like mechanics wire. I was surprised that they had zip ties this size, but each one of these is rated for 180 pounds. So I think if I break, you know, I'm gonna put like 5 of them, 6 of them on here. But if I break 6 of these things, I think I have a much bigger problem at hand than like the weight of the wood. If you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna try and put these on here. Now they're rather long, but it's the only length that they had of zip ties of this strength. So I think these should do it. They really do. So there's one. I mean, 6 of these things would be like, like over 1,000 pounds, I think, of like braking force. So I think we should be good. 6 times 180, if somebody wants to do that math. 6 times 8, or 6 times, it would be 600, be 1,080 pounds, I believe. If somebody wants to check my math, to break 6 of these. So, like I said, I think we should be good. So let me get these on here, and we'll fire this thing back up and try it again. It's like I said, it was working pretty well, might I add. I think this flap was kind of the trick. That didn't take long, but we got good news and we got bad news. The good news is these zip ties seem to be holding up for that little bit of splitting that we just did. The bad news is we have an issue here. We got broken chain link, missing paddle. Oh wait, just kidding, here it is. This thing was the one that got pretty messed up yesterday, or in the last video that I was filming. These paddles are just getting mangled. They're just not designed for firewood. And I mean, it's no fault of their own, because that's exactly right. You know, they were not designed for firewood at all. They were designed to move hay bales. So that's going to be the end of this little splitting session. I mean, the conveyor, when it's working, it works, but we definitely got some kinks to sort through. I was on the phone today with my other friend, Chris, the one who helped me do all the modifications to this log splitter, as well as the first conveyor I had way back when I first started the channel. And he is on board to help Chris, the other Chris and I, who were, we bought this conveyor together. He's on board to help us fix it up. Basically make all new paddles out of angle iron with maybe even a rubber like topper, so that way it's soft and kind of flexible. He's going to help us modify the trough. He's going to help us mount and fabricate a platform to mount the engine and the pump and the hydraulic tank and the valve and everything on the conveyor itself. Now it has like this kind of like little mount thing here, but I don't think that that's really of suitable size or location to mount all of this stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. Now I need to get the dump trailer out of the way so I can pull the conveyor out, or maybe move the splitter back so that I can try and get this chain back on, splice in a new link, and I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to get to that today. So anyway, I'm going to end the video here. This conveyor is definitely a work in progress. We knew that going into it. It does have some good bones, but we definitely, as you can see, have to work out some kinks. There's a lot of kinks to be worked out, and hopefully it will, serve its purpose. I don't see a reason for it not to. I've seen a lot of people that have converted these things to firewood conveyors. I think it just needs some attention and some modification, as with most things here at Dude Ranch DIY. So I'm going to wrap up the video. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button down below. Questions, comments, or feedback on this stuff, let me know down there in that comment section, because Lord knows I need it. But for now, I'm Jake. This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.